Alrighty. Hey everyone. It's been a while. So yeah, last week was a little interesting for those that are in the loop and following my or following me on Discord through there. I had the stream all set up. It was all configured and ready to go. And I had about 2.5-ish hours before the stream started. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take like an hour-long nap, and it'll be great. I slept for like 5 hours straight. Didn't go as planned, so that stream was scrapped. So here we are this week. All right, you know what? I'll just do this week. We got Hyaku, Shiki to look at, and the Double Z Gundam. So that's kind of on the menu today. Now, it should be relatively quick in and out because there's only 2 suits to look at. But for the sake of extending the stream just a little longer than normal, I actually wanted to talk about a couple of things that popped up today. Some of you guys, if you're in the Discord or even not, maybe you're on some of the Gundam subreddits or whatnot, you may have seen the 2 collaborations that popped up today. Let me see here. I should be able to just hook into my Chrome here, right? Yes, perfect. Let me just change this around a little bit. So this is the, I'll pan this way. This makes way more sense. Yes. So we have the G Fuel collaboration happening with Gundam, which I think is really, really cool. They got a Tumblr, they got all that stuff happening. So for those of you that know me really well, I don't like energy drinks and stuff. I don't really do like Red Bull. I don't do any of that stuff. But I keep seeing G Fuel plastered everywhere. So I think I might give this one a try. We'll see what happens when we get closer to release. But it's just one of those cool little collab things that popped up. And also in actual, like, I'm interested news hardcore, there's a collaboration happening with a company, High Ground, to create a bunch of Gundam merch, like actual hardware. In this case, we got keyboards, which I think look really dope. I do like the textures that those keycaps have. You may not be able to see it that well on this image, I'm not sure. But those keycaps have what looks like texture. But that could also just be white specks in the actual image, because down here it's really pronounced. Oh, my mouse cursor is not being captured. Hold on, that's unacceptable. Should be being captured, though. There it is. Yeah, so over here you can see like the white speckles are really big, but like over here it looks more like texturing. It's kind of neat. I heard it's the only better energy drink, but I don't know. I've had Red Bull in the past, I've had Monster in the past, but that was back in like my college dorm days. I haven't really had it in any reasonable amount. I might have one every 5 months or something now. And I usually just grab just a small can of Red Bull. So I'm not really one for energy drinks, but G Fuel, I keep seeing it. And you know what? This Gundam themed collaboration thing they got going on, good a reason as any, frankly. Anyways, yeah, so they got Gundam themed keyboards, which I think look really cool. I like the keycap selection they decided to go with. They have like little messenger bags as well. Yeah, this is like a see-through bag, hence why you can see the keyboard inside of it there. But yeah, I'm probably gonna pick one of these up because it looks really, really good, and I need a new keyboard. They also have mouse pads, which I think are pretty dope. This reminds me a lot of the motherboards and the computer parts, the collaboration they had with that a while back. I'm still kind of sad I didn't get one of those, but at the same time, they were so ridiculously expensive. It was like, honestly, like all things considered, I didn't think it was really worth it. I need that. I need to rescale this back so that when I full screen, I'll just get that set up now actually, because I want to take a look what they did with the Double Z. But from what I understand, it's just a rehash of of the mobiles, the other version of it. So, but we'll see. None of those EX skills really like stuck out. Oh yeah, this one has like an EX skill on like almost every part, doesn't it? I hear G Fuel is bad calorie wise. Monster is better, but G Fuel had the marketing down pat. I'm actually not 100% sure on that. At the end of the day, though, if we're being straight shooter honest, no energy drink is going to be good for you at the end of the day. It's either a massive amount of caffeine, a massive amount of sugar, both, whatever. So you're really kind of arguing which poison is the least bad to put in your body. But at the same time, if I'm going to have something, because I don't really like the taste of Red Bull, I don't like the aftertaste, same goes with Monster. For all I know, I'll try G Fuel and be like, oh, this is a pretty good aftertaste. I don't know, but willing to give it the old college try, as it were. What's the brand that's doing the keyboards? Missed it. The keyboard, if I remember the company correctly, is High Ground. Let me double check, though, because I don't want to. Yeah, if you're in my Discord, it's actually in the general chat. MC posted a little while ago, but High Ground is doing the hardware collaboration with the keyboards, the mouse pads, and the messenger bag. And if you're interested, they do have like a sign up thing, so you can get notified 15 minutes before the sale goes public. So there's that, but you do get charged rates, but each to their own, right? G Fuel's bad, but the limited packaging is tempting. That's kind of the big thing too, right? I would have no real interest in this if it wasn't Gundam theme. I think that's kind of what pushed me over the edge here. Especially they got two tumblers, right? They got the Granddaddy and they got the Zaku, and both of them look really clean. So I'm looking forward to checking all that out. But anyways, yeah, it was definitely the collaboration that got me to like look at it and go interesting. And I'm probably going to buy one of those High Ground keyboards as well, as long as they're not obscenely expensive. There's also the Juju energy drink I hear now and then. Never even heard of that brand. I know Monster, I know Red Bull, and G Fuel. Those are like the only three I know. I don't even do coffee, right? So, all right. Anyways, enough bouncing around. Let's take a look at our new content now. I believe we're still running on the event that I covered a couple of weeks ago, so this is going to literally just be a, yeah, okay. So, gonna be super quick. It's literally just gonna be check the gacha, hit up alterations, in and out, super fast. Unless they added a bunch of alterations in the interim I don't know about. Now, it's interesting to see the Hyaku Shiki, because it's no alteration, but it is a 7-star. So I am going to look at it here, because I can't look at an alteration, obviously. But we will look at the double Z in alteration, which will be nice. I know Levita, but you got to be in Malaysia. It's honey flavor. Dude, if they had a solid honey flavored energy drink that wasn't like overpowering, right? Because honey can be very, very overwhelming as a flavor. I know that when I make tea for myself, right, I like putting in a couple teaspoons of honey because it helps mellow out the throat a little bit. But I also know that, you know, some people put a few tablespoons into their drink, and at that point you're just drinking hot honey. Power to you, but I think that's a little too strong on the flavorings. But if it's a pleasant honey flavor, I'm off game for that. I love honey. Okay, Hyaku Shiki. We'll take a look at this guy who just got released. Now, this is a non-limited, non-Sokai, non-alteration suit. So I'm not expecting insane numbers on this, but I'm still expecting very, very good numbers. And I'll just leave the double Z running on the side there, because why not? Big empty space. Where's the Hyaku Shiki animations? That's a good question, actually. When I checked a while ago on their Twitter, I actually didn't see them yet. They may have come up now, but when I looked before I started the stream, I didn't see them. Ah, okay, yeah, 10 minutes. They just came up. So we'll look at the Hyaku Shiki animations. I'm looking at the Hyaku Shiki works. Actually, let's look at the animations first. Why? Stop putting Vulcans on things. Cascade. Okay, okay. A bog standard crappy melee animation, okay. Is that it? No, okay. Yeah, they got the big cannon. This is just copied from its other, yeah. Okay. That should be it. Yep. All right, we'll leave that running. Nothing terribly amazing, nothing new. It's just a rebranded Hyaku Shiki, effectively. At least a new EX would be nice. The good part about this suit is, as it's not a limited, as it's not a Sokai, it'll be in that 4-star pick ticket pool in a few weeks from now. So there's at least that, for what that's worth. All right. So Hyaku Shiki, head-mounted Vulcan. Well, as we've established over the last, how many years this game has been out, those are bad. Moving along. Technically, the bazooka launcher is new to the Hyaku Shiki. Technically, sure, it's new to the, but like the Cascade rockets isn't anything new, for what that's worth. Anyways, back to this Ace exclusive commander. I gotta say, that's a very, very tempting word tag combination for anyone that wants to run a shot machine. This guy packs the 2 core tags for shot builds. Little golf claps. Nice. Not only is it good meta-wise, air quotes around meta, because the part itself is mediocre. You'll get better stats from a limited or a Sokai. But yeah, that's very comfy. So statistically, like, there's not really much of a point at looking at the numbers, because as it's a 7-star suit, it's going to be now it's standard, not limited or Sokai, but due to it having 7-star, the stats are going to be very, very close, if not equivalent or surpassing limited / Sokai parts that don't have 7-star. So the downside to 7-star is it kind of created that whole new tier, that bracket of power. 8 stars is going to be a mess. Anyways, yeah. Cool beans. The AX skill is a complete wash. The stats are really high, as we'd expect from a 7-star part. And the word tags, very good. Yeah, like, that's the thing, right? Is even if I look at a 7-star part and go, it's still gonna be a cut above like almost every other part in the game that isn't 7-star, purely because it has 7-star. It has the numbers. No, man, it's not a Xant leak. I'm not allowed to leak. NDAs, right? All right, Hyaku Shiki torso with saber category equipped. Very easy to do. We have so many saber type weapons in this game, you're actually going to be hard pressed to not have a saber. EX skill power boosted by a 35%. Honestly, this is really comfortable. Very easy activation trait. Very powerful returns with that 35% boost. I have no real complaints. The only complaint is that it doesn't have alteration to add a really dope second trait onto this. C'est la vie. All right, Ace exclusive commander tags on this too. Nice, nice, nice. That's a pretty healthy torso, all things considered, with no alteration available. Arms. All right, double saber shear. On paper, seems like a really good EX skill. B+ power, D pierce, low cooldown. In practice, though, well, you can see it on the side there. The animation is relatively lengthy. You do have to get up close and personal for it to actually launch. Very easy to whiff. Relatively easy for an enemy to get out of it if they really wanted to. Not that great. I would go with any other the fucking like discount bargain bin EX skills we have with B+ power that do this but better. Alright, so we finally get rid of Commander and we bring in Force Space. I don't like the 4 line of tags. I think they could be much better executed than they currently are. I really don't like the fact that we are not able to pick the stages that we play on, but I understand why we can't. But because we're not able to, it does heavily impact how effective these force tags are, because you're not able to get the max mileage out of them. Yeah, so Ace exclusive, great tag. Force Space, not great tag. EX skill, you're putting yourself at risk more than you are the enemy. Let's be real here. All right, let's take a look at them legs. With speed attribute, EX skill cooldown reduced by 20%. That is, what, 3rd highest cooldown reduction modifier that we have available? Great. Speed attribute, pretty easy to get your hands on. 5 parts or more of the speed attribute. Nothing special. We've seen this on a ton of parts up until this point with the easier activation traits, actually, mind you. You know, like have this job license or have a certain weapon equipped or something. But not that bad. I do find it really odd, though, that the part is power. You know, notice how the Hyaku Shiki leg is power type, but it wants you to have the speed attribute. I feel like this is a copy over from the previous Hyaku Shiki. Interesting decision, Bandai. A power part wanting speed attribute for its trait. Okay. Ace exclusive, Force Space, neato. Yeah, pretty much the same as what I said about the previous part. You know what? Give me a second here. I actually just want to send something to the... Yeah. Someone already beat me to it. Cool. Just pointing that out to Bandai in case it was a error. Okay. Interesting trait. Backpack. That's the Mega Bazooka launcher. That's okay. Yep, that's the big backpack skill that we saw. B+ power, D Pierce. It has a effective cutscene cooldown. It's kind of what we'd expect to see on most shot suits. Some kind of like core skill. This would be it. Very signature. It's this skill here. A very signature skill. Hits a bunch of times. In practice, it does great work. And on paper, looks great. I have no real complaints about this skill. Ace exclusive, high firepower. Very interesting. So they're not bringing back the commander tag or the Force Space tag. Instead, they give it another tag. High firepower does a lot. Gives you your shot attack boost, gives you your melee attack boost. It's a very flexible tag available for both types of builds. It's available on tons of parts in this game, countless numbers of them, so you'll never have an issue activating this trait, or tag, sorry. And on top of that, it does activate a bunch of traits. So, cool beans. Better than Force Space by a mile. Beam Saber. Against enemies with disadvantageous attribute, enemy all power reduced by 35%. I don't think it's really necessary to reduce their power by 35%, but okay. The activation, now, okay, just so we're clear, when I'm reading this and I see against enemy with disadvantageous attribute, I'm reading this as you're fighting an opponent while you have a disadvantageous attribute. So I'm a speed suit fighting a technical suit, or I'm a power suit fighting a speed suit. That's where I get the all power reduction. In practice, it sounds pretty good. Hey, you're going to do extra damage to me. Let's nullify that with this 35% all power reduction. Unfortunately, you probably don't want to be in that situation in the first place, because even if you reduce the damage coming onto you, you're just dealing reduced damage anyways. You want to either be running a neutral suit or a superior attribute suit, so, you know. And then, of course, flip side, let's say I'm interpreting this incorrectly, and it means you're fighting a suit that you have advantage on, so I'm a speed suit fighting a power suit. You don't need to reduce their power by 35%. They're already doing heavily reduced damage to you, and you're already doing really increased damage to them. It just seems like kind of a moot point trait, you know? Ace exclusive, high firepower. Alright, cool beans. Nice for a beam saber, honestly. Not a fan of the trait, though. Beam rifle. When in space categories, this is where that force space word tag would also be active. Enemy EX skill damage plus 40%. For anyone that's new, not quite sure how to understand this, it doesn't mean your enemy is doing 40% more damage with their EX skills, even though that's exactly what it reads like. What it means is the enemy is taking 40% more EX skill damage. It fits into a different place in the battle formula. Normally you would see EX skill power boosted by 40%, but instead of stacking, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of those, you would want to switch some of them out with this enemy EX skill damage plus 40%. It does the same thing, but it goes somewhere else in the battle formula, resulting in a higher overall damage output. That's kind of how it all works. So you kind of want to have a healthy mix. Yeah, there's terrible translation, honestly. A lot of these things are. I know they have limited space to work with, but like, come on. With all the space we have here, we know you can change the font size in here as well. Like, come on. Come on! Alright. Yeah. Part trait is nice, except the fact it requires the space category map. Because obviously that heavily reduces the amount of content you can play it on, as there's only a few space maps in this game. And you don't get to pick the map you play on most of the time. So, yeah, mileage may vary on this one. It's a shame, too. The 40% EX skill damage is really nice. But I guess it's really nice because it has such a restrictive activation thing, you know? All right. Ace exclusive for space. Okay. And lastly, our clay bazooka. This is where we have our dual wave, or cascade, A+ pierce, C power, medium cooldown. So this one's kind of the A+ pierce is pretty cool. You're going to be ignoring a lot of the defense and resistance of your enemy, but the C power does kind of reduce that payload by quite a bit. If it was at least like a B- or even a B, great. With C, not so much. You're probably going to be swapping this out later on for something that has B+ power, or even, like A- power. Maybe even better than that. It's okay. That's pretty much all it is. It's okay. Ace exclusive. We got high firepower again. Cool. All right. Overall, the Hyaku Shiki is okay. For a not limited, for a not Sokai, unalterated suit, okay. I would not spend a single Haro chip on this suit, but yeah. I mean, it could be a typo, but it sure reads like it's purposely meant to be that way. Yeah, I have no idea. We've put the query forward. We'll see what happens. I have a unit that could use this. 60 second, not 30. How have you not lost interest in Gundam Breaker Mobile yet? So, just the testing back is full iframes. Man, I can't believe you spent Haro on this. Power to you though, MC. Power to you. To answer your question, Steven, so to put this into kind of into perspective, GBM is kind of what propelled me to have a viewer base at all, and kind of why I'm here doing this today. And it's one of those things that I don't think I'll stop doing until EOS, just out of respect because of what it did for me, you know? Unless they do something unbelievably atrocious with the game. And I have heavily dialed back the amount that I play it. I have heavily dialed back, the amount of interest I have in it. but there is still that, like, I will cover you until EOS, just, because you got me here kind of deal. So I'm hoping to start spreading out into more games and doing stuff. But it can be really difficult to do that because I wanted to start doing evolution content, right? But the group I played with were kind of all sailor mouths. Not exactly YouTube friendly. I can see my streams getting taken down pretty fast. And because of that, right, it wasn't really ideal to stream with my friends, and Evolution's not really a game I enjoy playing solo. I'm very much more of a social gamer kind of thing. And now looking at Evolution, if you guys have been following it, it does have a couple of little road bumps here and there, primarily with the battle pass. They've decreased the they've increased the amount of XP it takes to level up, and they've made the rewards a little more kind of spread out. And as a free to play in that game, not exactly, incentivizing me to want to sit down and play it solo to begin with. And most of my friends have moved on to new Pokemon games, Darktide. Some of them have gone and started playing Warframe. So I'm hoping that Eternal comes out soon, or at least another CBT for that I can actually participate in, so I can make content for that, because I really want that game to succeed. Battle Alliance, that was like a quick burn. Lots of fun though. That game, lots of fun. They just needed, I think, a little more suit diversity in there, and a little more like collectible related stuff to keep the game going. Because once I got my few favorite suits and kind of maxed them out and invested in them, it was like, all right, well, what now, right? So I have the entire server make poor decisions for me. Okay, so it wasn't you that tested it, it was someone else that tested it, and you claimed their research. Okay, I see how it is, MC. That's the knows. It's the only mobile Gundam game, correct? UC Engage. So it's not the only Gundam game. It is the only global available Gundam game, because we have Urder Hunt, we have UC Engage. Technically we have GBO2. That's not really a mobile game, but it's something I could cover. But as I've mentioned previously, my PS4 has a effectively shot wireless in it, so I need to get a wired cable. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a cable run to my PS4 for that one game, especially considering I would then also have to set up a capture card system for it, because it's all the way over there and my PC's all the way over here. So kind of, yeah, a lot of effort and investment and time investment effectively for something that will have effectively low returns. I'm waiting for the Steam version whenever that comes out, because that will be much easier and much more convenient for me to play, talk about, cover, and everything. It's an older game. I know that there's tons of people that already do very, very good coverage on it, and props to you guys for giving that information to all the players. But damn if I didn't enjoy my very short time playing that game, and I really want more. I was contemplating doing like good hardcore content on Punishing Grey Raven, but that field's completely taken over by Rexcellent, and he has a very big in with Kuro Games and a lot of other Chinese publishers, from what I understand. Mostly them though, and that guy gets early access to everything, so there's no point even contesting that. Let him run that game. I was contemplating Neural Cloud, but again, it had a staggered release, so I've always found staggered release games to be very difficult to do discussion and coverage on, because by the time it gets to my server, it's like effectively sloppy seconds. You're just regurgitating what someone else has already said. So yeah, I will say that's one big reason that has stopped me from talking about Fate Grand Order. Is I could talk about like the new Japanese server characters as they get released and give my opinions on them, but you got people that speak like or understand Japanese at a better level than I do, and they don't have to wait for proper translations to come out for stuff. The last thing I want to do is give like half-baked info, because FGO can be Very meta sweaty. Very meta sweaty. All right. Ugh. I can't wait for next week. Moon and Atlas Altar is next week. The Moon Altar will be pretty neat. I'm kind of excited to see what they do with that backpack. All right. So we've looked at the Hyaku Shiki. Let's go take a peek-see at the alteration for the Double Z. And while we're doing that, let's have the Double Z playing in the background. Yeehaw! So we'll start from the top, work our way down. For anyone that hasn't been here before, for me talking about alterations, long and short, I'm going to be looking at the part trait / EX skill, because pretty much when it comes to a suit, that's all that changes when you alternate it. It's safe to assume that as a 7-star limited suit, it is just going to have better stats than effectively everything else in the game. As it is also the newest suit, it's probably going to have the best stats out of all the existing ones, or very close to, as incentive to roll. With that in mind, I'm going to be ignoring the stats. I will also look at the word tags though, as this is technically a new suit. So tags, EX skill / part trait. Everything else is effectively going to be ignored. Bobbity boom. Let's start with the noggin. High Mega Particle Cannon, A Pierce, A- power, and raise your shot attack by 29%. So this is going to ignore a very significant chunk of the enemy's resistances and defenses. It is going to hit, well, pretty hard. A- is nothing to sneeze at. And you do get a nice 29% shot attack boost. Normally we would expect a little higher from a not... okay, if this was a low cooldown, like 20 seconds with a 5-second initial or something, at 29%, I'd have zero problems with. That's like some aces kind of stuff with those numbers. But we're kind of cranking up the cooldown a little bit with that in mind. It has the Pierce power numbers. 29%, it's average. It's nothing amazing. It's not bad by any means, God no. I'm just not 100% sure I'm sold on the A- with a 60-second cooldown. That just seems a little weird to me. But yeah. Overall, not a bad EX skill by any means. That's pretty much it. Ace exclusive heavy armor, healthy word tags actually. Okay. Ace exclusive, as I've mentioned, that's like one of the core tags for shot machines, so that's some... yeah, you want that. Heavy armor is a nice workable tertiary for shot machines. I'm not 100% sold on it. It's accessible. It does activate some traits. It's just not the best, I guess is the way to put it. It gives you the numbers, but it doesn't activate that much, and it's not as available in desirable parts for shot builds. And that's pretty much it. All right, torso. I said torso. Boy? Boy. Jeez. 8-shot missile pod. D Pierce, A- power, very low cooldown, effectively a pocket rocket. And that's that skill there, actually. The, kind of weird act. That's kind of the torso skill. So it's this one. So I found that kind of interesting. I don't know if the original suit did this. I'm going to assume it did. But as a point towards its interesting viability, as you saw when this skill started, you had 4 enemies lined up in front of our hero suit there. When he fires the skill, the missiles automatically spread out to hit the multiple targets, and kills them all except one. Whether that was out of range or there weren't enough missiles, whatever. Excuse me. That's actually a pretty cool effect. It's really rare to see a kind of a pseudo-targeted EX skill do this. So that's pretty cool beans, honestly. Multiple targets, very useful for clearing mooks and stuff. You could also just use Rolling Buster, but that's not a missile salvo. And missile salvos are pretty cool. Ace exclusive heavy armor tags again, already talked about them, so I'll skip it. Arms. Try doing a deep low voice when you say boy. Dude, I ain't going Kratos on this. I ain't got that Christopher Judge voice. Wish I did though. Damn, that man does a good voice. So it was so interesting because when I first played God of War when Christopher Judge, or not played, but I saw the trailers for God of War when Christopher Judge took over the voice acting. I heard the voice and I was like, I know this voice, and I couldn't remember where. And then I went and searched it, and Christopher Judge. I grew up watching a lot of sci-fi. This included Stargate. I had been listening to Christopher Judge playing Teal'c in Stargate for so long, right? I heard that voice, and it was just like that one neuron in my brain fired, and I was just like, oh, I know this voice. He does that is a very specific voice. I love it. All right. Full armor double Z arms. Double beam rifle. Fire beam rifle equipped to your forearms. You can move while firing. Magazine skill. And that's this EX skill that we're seeing here, where he's kind of flying forward and doing that. So this is a multi-shot tight spread, like very, very tight spread. It looks like it's got decent range on it based on the projectile type. I don't really have anything to complain about here. Seems solid enough. Good movement speed on the projectiles. 11 magazine, A- power. Gonna hit very hard. Pretty much runs parallel to like the top tier magazine skills that we've seen in the past. So that's just kind of a great skill to have there. Cool beans. Ace exclusive high firepower. I've talked about that combo of tags, so I'm gonna move right along to the legs. ZZ back is a nice semi-AoE EX, which had more AoEs than Buster Rifle and Colony Drop. They just need to make more Colony Drops. Or Colony Drop level skills. Frankly, I am still 100% on the boat of, they give us another Gundam Seed or Gundam Seed Destiny suit, make it one of the iconic character suits that participates in like the last fight or whatever, and make one of the EX skills, the Genesis laser or Requiem something, and just make it a big fuck off beam into the middle of the map that does the same thing that Colony Drop does, right? Where it hits, explosion, just massive range or whatever. Because that would get me to actually roll all my horror chips effectively immediately if I ever saw that. Because, yes, weapons of mass destruction do it for me, you know? All right. Full armor ZZ legs, the high mega cannon. So where are our legs? That's the torso. That's the face. Legs? Legs. All right. Okay. So that is super quick deployment, very quick animation, all things considered. Very significant range, no complaints there. A+ Pierce, D power. The only real complaint that I have here is the cooldown on it. This is kind of a medium-ish length cooldown. It gives no extra effects to it. Seems very lackluster with that in regards to other stuff we've seen. Yeah. But this is also one of those situations where I'm not this is where we would love to see numbers instead of letters, because when you think about it, this is A+. We have another skill that's A+. They both do very different amounts of damage. There's still a scale in the A+ bracket, you know, low to high, right? If we think about it on like an actual percentage scale, right? A+, you're looking at like a effective 10% bracket. You could be at the very, very low end of that 10% or at the very, very high end of that 10% about to push over into the S- field. And that could be an actual big difference in the performance of the skill and how much damage it outputs. This could be literally just shy of S-, and that's why it doesn't give any extra effects. But we'll never know because we have A+. On paper, it's okay at best. It requires a lot, it does good damage, but it gives no buffs. It's kind of All right, Ace exclusive Gundam type. Very interesting word tag to see on the legs. Gundam type, not a bad tertiary tag, activates a lot of traits, relatively accessible. Nice. Hail of bullets. All right, so this is our backpack EX. Ooh, excuse me. This is our Big kahuna skill, actually perfect timing. So this is it. So you open up by dashing, you hit them, you fire the beam, you fire a beam, and then you fire all the missiles. It looks really flashy. It's going to do a boatload of damage as a double S- skill. You get a 59% shot attack boost. Obviously, a crazy high attack modifier, so there's no complaints there at all. And you get a resist flinch. Not a big deal there. So, hits like a truck, makes you hit harder afterwards, or before. I'm not sure when the buff's applied on that, but let's check. I'm going to assume it's after, though, because that's kind of the standard for these, is you get that buff after. Let's see. Missile salvo. No, looks like you actually get it beforehand. Yep. And you can actually see the moment it gets applied too, because if you look here, there's no buffs on the buff bar, which, in case you forgot, is right there. Use the skill, dash forward, and you can see the, well, I don't know if the quality carries over into my stream, but it has the 2 buff icons there. So, awesome. You get, this is great. This is a very, very good 4 mileage skill. Nice stuff. It's the non-bindables that buff after the animation's complete. Ah, okay, cool. The difficulties of telling between a nuke and a million cuts. Ain't that the truth? 8's exclusive and Gundam type again. All right, let's check out the big sword. With speed attribute, squad cooldown minus 19% seconds. Very straightforward. Is your suit speed attribute? Yes, your entire squad is almost getting effectively 20% cooldown reduction. Cool. While 8's exclusive, squad shooting power plus 40%. So this is going to be a very nice part, if you pick it up or you want to pick it up, to put onto supporting suits in your team. If you remember, a lot of content allows you to run 3 suits at once. So you have your primary suit, which has all your fat DPS, the numbers, and you're laughing to the bank. Then you have a suit that just has a bunch of squad bonuses like this. Reduce cooldowns, increase shooting power. Because remember, you could always try to min-max your primary suit. Or you can just get your 2 support suits to be the buffer for your primary suit. Now that's big brain. Because, you know, your 2 partners technically have 8 free slots. Be a real shame if they weren't all buffing your primary suit. And since they can have 2 traits, that's 16 potential buffs that you're not using per suit. That's a lot of buffs. Yeah. Ace exclusive, high firepower, cool beans. Hyper Mega Cannon. Ooh, yeah. It's a very interesting looking cannon, I'll give it that. While high firepower, enemy shooting damage plus 40%. So, as I mentioned, this means that they take 40% more damage. So, cool. High firepower, very easy to activate. Available on tons of parts, that's fine. Before 90 seconds pass, so for the first minute and a half, all enemies EX skill damage plus 35%. Alright, this is pretty straightforward. If you're high firepower and you're in the first minute and a half of combat, those are some fat boosts. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Nothing jaw-droppingly amazing, but a 40% shooting damage boost and a 35% EX skill damage boost. Okay. Okay. I was expecting 40-40 or maybe 45-45, but I guess the Faz isn't worth it, you know? Isn't worth the same love as a core suit or something. I'm not sure the criteria involved in deciding what suits get these busted skills. The double beam rifle, the last part, with blade category equipped. Blade does not mean saber. Blade is its own weapon type. That is the big sword that you had I was looking at before. The sabers are, well, the very fine point beam sabers. Blades are the big cleavers. With blade category equipped, squad EX skill piercing plus 33%. Quite unfortunately, we have no way to quantify how useful this actually is. Because when it comes to Pierce, the only thing we know is it's a letter. Much like Power, mind you. But with Pierce, we don't really have as much of a grasp on its usefulness. Now, okay, if you have a bunch of skills that have like no Pierce whatsoever, and you're just all Power, you got a bunch of double S skills with, you know, D Pierce, right? You might want to pick that up just to have a little bit of piercing in your repertoire. You'll see a very big return if you're running a bunch of very, very low piercing skills. But if you're running a bunch of, you know, B Pierce, A Pierce, you probably won't see that much of an increase with this. You want more power. I really wish we had the battle formula data mine so we can actually make proper quantifications out of these percentage values. It's so weird, right? Like, all the power in Pierce is represented by letters, but the buffs are all represented by percentages. When armor is 60% or more, enemy shooting damage plus 50%. So as long as you have more than 60% armor, you get 50% shooting bonus. Cool beans. That's a nice buff. Overall, this is pretty convenient. Everyone gets 33% extra pierce, and you're doing 50% more shot damage. Kind of wraps everything up nicely there. Very symbiotic. Cool beans. Still not 100% sold on piercing, though. Anyways, with that, gang, we're pretty much done all the new content that was added in. Nice beans. So, with that, if anyone was here for just the GBM related content updates, we are done. Thanks for coming by, hanging out, tuning in, and all that fun stuff. I will be back here, I believe it's next week for the content drop. If not next week, then the week after for sure. But I'll be keeping my eye out for emergency streams and whatnot. For anyone that was here for stuff beyond just GBM, I guess we'll kind of enter kind of a free talk. I do want to talk about some of the other games I've been playing and whatnot, as I typically tend to do on these streams. I should look around doing like an actual like stream on another day where I just talk about the other games. That's a lot of effort though. We'll just do it here. Anyways, so outside of GBM, let's talk about the other stuff. Let's see here. First, let's close all that. Close all that. Cool beans. And which template should I use? I guess I'll use just like the PGR template. Yeah, I think I'll just use the PGR template. That should work. Perfect. So, for anyone that's been paying attention to recent games that have come out, we have Neural Cloud. So I want to talk about this game. I was originally going to do like a full video for this game, discussing it and talking about it, because honestly, I love it a bunch. But at the same time, like, there's only so much to really talk about with this that hasn't already been said. Yeah, I've been very busy with a few mobile games this last week, just playing them and kind of getting used to them. Gundam Evo, don't like that you have two of the same suit in your team. Tried it, didn't. Yeah, Neural Cloud is interesting. I did not think I would like this, right? Because I don't like roguelikes. I don't like the sheer amount of RNG involved in roguelikes. When I play a game, I hate it when, like, the only time I am fine with it is when the RNG is for a party game. Mario Party, Dokapon Kingdom, Smash Bros with items on. That's fine. Those games are meant to be kind of, you know, a little random, mix things up a little bit, even the playing field. But when you play a game like this, where you're clearing story content and there's no way to like auto skip missions that you've fully cleared, when they suddenly add in that little dash of RNG into things, I don't like that very much. But this game has managed to keep me, mainly because it does have like a full auto mode for clearing content and completing it. Yeah, really just like a short blurb on this. Honestly, some of the best menus I've seen in a game. They're super responsive. They are crisp. Everything loads super friggin' quickly. There's like no real lag I've noticed with this. The combat, very quick, very clean. Upgrading, very streamlined. The gacha so far has been pretty free to play, friendly. If you notice, I have 100 and that's 110 now. Yeah, 110 premium rolls. So I'm well over halfway to a spark, which is only 180 in this game. Once you got a character, you can just farm their fragments from this 10 a day fragment search thing. So you don't even have to roll multiple copies of a character unless you need them to be maxed out that day. And even then, when you roll duplicates in this game, you get neural kits, which you can use to exchange for anyone's fragments. You don't have to trade for specific characters or get only dupes for a single character, which is really good. If you're kind of on the fence about the game, if you don't mind like an auto chess roguelike, this will do the trick. Really good stuff. I'm still enjoying it, and I didn't expect that to happen. So I didn't even really play GFL. I skipped through 90% of the content story-wise in that game. I tried paying attention at the beginning, but I just kind of got bored. And just skipped everything. So doing the same here, but still good stuff. So that's pretty great. Beyond that, we can actually just do this. We have, oh yeah, Eminence and Shadow. This one is a lot more, I don't want to crap down Crunchyroll's throat, because there are some parts of this game that are like really high quality. Mainly the 3D models are just absolute mint. But it is very not free to play friendly. If you've played Princess Connect, this is literally Princess Connect with a new coat of paint. That is all this game is. It uses the exact same gearing system, uses the exact same PvP system, the whole 9 yards. They took their other IP, Princess Connect, and just said, hey, we'll just slap a new skin on it, call it a day. The combat is, it's okay. Nothing really amazing. But this game is definitely playing on characters, interactions, the vast amount of characters that are available, air quotes on vast. For the IP, it's relatively vast. Yeah, I'm playing this game purely as a collector side game. I'm not terribly concerned about getting every character. I'm not concerned about making sure I'm playing, min-maxing or anything. You know what, let's just throw my face into this and lose really quick. Yeah, it's not a game I would recommend to people that aren't fans of the IP. It's not a game I would recommend to people that are looking for a good game to play. But if you like the IP, if you don't mind playing it as like a backup secondary kind of game, this is your jam. But because of its very, very unfriendly practices, I would highly recommend not committing a lot of these. It's definitely not friendly by any means. But yeah, I've been enjoying my time with it. I like the IP a bunch, so it's the only reason I'm still sticking with it. Other than that, I wouldn't be playing with the 10-foot pole. Beyond that, let's see, Neural Cloud, Eminence. Yeah, really beyond that, it's just kind of the same old, Fate Grand Order. A little bit Tower Fantasy here and there. I'm still waiting on GFL 2. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna wait, see how GFL 2 pans out and all those others, but as a longtime player of GFL, the only thing holding me back from trying Neural Cloud is the hope of seeing some characters be added in. Okay, so I'm a little confused here, Omar. Are you saying that you don't want to play Neural Cloud because you're afraid of some characters being added into it? Because if you're saying you're looking forward to seeing some characters added into it, why are you not playing it to get the currency kind of saved up, unless you plan on doing rerolls or something? It's confusing to me. Unfriendly practices. I think you're talking about Nikki. Okay, so here's the jive, right? So Nikki has its own problems, right? It has its own entire batch of issues and problems and stuff. Primarily in the like the pity, the 50-50 pilgrim pities, the bugs, all that kind of stuff. So with this game, you have to pay a lot of money to get crystals. It effectively boils down to. Right now, I'm at 10,000 crystals, a little over 10,000 crystals right now. 10,201, be extremely specific. Pity is a significant chunk away from what I have right now. If I actually go to the summon page, let's see. So this is our Christmas character exchange. So we need 200 things in here. It's what, 2,800? So I need to roll 20 times in this banner. 10 times 20, you're 200. It costs 2,800. You need 56,000 crystals. 56,000 in order to pity a character in this game. These 10,000 crystals I currently have are effectively all of the crystals from the first 5 chapters of the currently, I think, released 8 chapters of the main story. The first 60-odd% of the chronicles, because this game has 2 different story modes, so to speak. It has a main quest and then the Shadow Chronicles, right? You got your main quest here, which has your 8 main chapters, and then you have your 7 Shadow Chronicles, which has how many? 10 chapters, right? So I'm puddling my way through here. Oh, this is the hard mode, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm puddling my way through here. I need one more map to get to chapter 5 on there. So let's put it in perspective. I've done effectively half of the Shadow Chronicles. I've done effectively, what, 60-odd% of the main story. I have 10,000 crystals. I am nowhere near pity. I did one roll with crystals after my tutorial roll ended just to kind of round things out on my account. The only way I'm going to get a character from this gacha is if I save up for many, many months at this rate. Because you got to remember, a lot of these crystals are going to be front loaded when you play these games because they want to keep you playing. They want to keep you in there and active. So they give you a lot at the beginning and front load it through all the missions, the PvP modes and everything. So when I say this game is very free to play unfriendly, this is what I mean. On top of that, now granted, this isn't a big deal at the end of the day, but it sets a really bad precedent. The event that we have in this game right now has an event shop. However, there's you may have heard about this, the premium version of the event shop. Let me just hide my camera here really quick so you guys can see. We have an event tab, which has the normal event materials and stuff, and then a premium tab. And as you can see, there's a lot of openings available here for more tabs. Now, it should be said that a lot of the items in there don't really matter at the end of the day. They're not game-breaking, they're not going to give you a colossal leg up or anything, whatever. But you can only get access to the shop by going to the actual in-game shop and buying a specific package to unlock this. It's like a premium battle pass for the event. This current implementation isn't bad, but it sets the precedent of it's probably going to get worse. This is going to be one of those, we're testing the waters to see how many people are willing to buy this, and then we'll figure out if it's worth implementing good rewards in here long term. So that is kind of, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, you know, Nikki, Nike, whatever's not bad. I'm just saying that it's got some competition at the bottom of the totem pole. And like I was saying, I would only really recommend this to fans of the IP because, frankly, there is no point investing a ton of time into this. It's going to take forever to get enough currency to spark anything. You're going to have to put a ton of effort and time into this to develop your characters because, much like Princess Connect, this is a very slow burn game. Now, of course, to talk positives, because there is one big thing I see people talking about, they're very worried this game's going to EOS when the anime ends. because this game heavily leverages scenes and snippets from the anime in its story content. And the only thing I can really say to that is, well, actually, I don't have to say anything. I can just click this one menu button. So the character you see on the left side of the screen is Zeta. She does not show up in the manga. Well, briefly, she has very, like, in the background kind of show up things. In the anime, again, she shows up as kind of a supporting character in the background, not really brought up, mentioned, or anything. In the novel, however, she really kind of has her scenes. So what that tells me is, although they're sourcing anime cutscenes and stuff to flesh out this game and really make it pop, the actual content is taken from the actual source material, the novel. So, end of the day, I wouldn't be too worried about an EOS anytime soon. If they change this to be a little more free-to-play friendly, I can see this taking off, because at the end of the day, very high quality models, all things. I don't think my capture card actually reflects this, but these character models on my phone look absolutely mint. So, yeah, they put a lot of money into that. So, yeah. It's a neat game. Lots of positives. Good handful of negatives. It's a pretty cool game. But I would recommend Neural Cloud, honestly. Is it worse than double battle passes happening concurrently? See, that's the thing, though, is battle passes themselves aren't inherently terrible. It purely boils down to, do you get the worth out of it, and is it reasonable? Like, when I look at Neural Cloud's battle pass, for example, it has a lot of really, really nice rewards. And for what it's worth, it gives you a lot. Actually, I think I saw a Neural Cloud open. Yeah, I do. Cool. Let me just reconnect to it. Oh, yeah, that's it. This game has, like, no time at all to boot from phone screen to in-game. It's nuts. I love it. So the battle pass for this, all right, I did buy the battle pass because I really wanted the Hubble outfit that was at level 10. But this one has a lot of rewards, has a relatively low level cap at 50. You don't have to go up like 150 levels or anything crazy like that. It's like 50, yeah, we're done here. You know, tap out, you're finished. And you get a ton of quartz sand, which is like the soft gacha currency for this game. You have quartz, then you have quartz sand. Quartz is buy only with cash. Quartz sand you get from, you know, pretty much all the daily missions and all. It's the farmable currency you can use in the gacha. But they give you a lot of quartz sand, enough to really make up for the purchase that you put in on top of all the other materials and items. That would be what I call a worth it battle pass. Something that you get your returns on, and you get enough back to make it worth the money you put in. There are some battle passes I've seen in games where you really don't get your money's worth, where you're spending a significant chunk of money to unlock it, and it just doesn't give the same value back, right? Because you gotta remember, when someone puts money into a battle pass, right, you're spending money most of the time. So when you're putting money into this, you're already expecting to get, you know, returns on your money. But a lot of the games, what they're going to do is they're going to take the really good stuff that you want in the battle pass and push it way to the back to make you want to play more. And I think that's very counterintuitive, because if I'm paying money to unlock a battle pass or something, I shouldn't have to grind extra hard to make my money worth it, right? So it just, yeah. But at the same time, if you front load everything and just give it to players that pay, then it really does become kind of a pay to win. But battle passes, it depends on their implementation. It's pretty much how it all boils down to. For about 50 SR molds, 50 SSR molds, so you can't use skins on a massive change. So I would have to actually play more of Nikki to really be able to tell you whether, because I'm assuming that's the game you're talking about with this battle pass. I would have to really play it to determine whether or not it's worth it, because when you spend money on a battle pass, it's how much time do you save, how much do you get in returns, and let's say I took the equivalent amount of money that I spent on the battle pass and I went into the shop and I used that money there instead, do I at least get that much-ish in gadget currency kind of deal, right? If I, like, the battle pass for this, I believe, was like $16, $20? I can't remember the exact price, but it was less than $30 for the battle pass in this game. With that in mind, the amount of gadget currency I got is more than a single multi-roll, which already burns out to under $30, pretty much no matter what, the upper ceiling of what I paid for the battle pass. So just that alone is like, all right, so I'm pretty much buying a multi-roll and I'm getting all this other stuff. I'm getting a costume, a ton of uncapped materials, currency, all this other stuff, right? That makes it worthwhile. I don't know if it makes it worthwhile in Nikki or not, because I played that game for like maybe 7 hours, I think, maybe. Hell if I remember anymore. So like RC and BC and PGR. Yeah, Omar, pretty much exactly the same. If you look at it, Quartz is effectively rainbow cards, and Quartz Sand is black cards. That's the best way to look at it. Ugh. Actually, I need to burn some of my keys now that I'm looking at this, because I know I'll forget if I don't do it now. Nuclear synchro device is a hole in the SSR triple B. Yeah. No, like I said earlier, man, I am not saying that Nikki does not have bad monetization. I'm in no way saying it has good monetization. But what I'm saying is there are times where you look at, because at least, and I say this very tentatively, at least with Nikki, the progression is not hard gated early on. The one big negative aspect that I have with Master of Garden taking pages from Princess Connect is the early game grind is atrocious to get your ranks up. So right now, let me just switch back over to it really quick. So I have two options currently, because here, like, let's see here. Here's one of my DPS characters, right? One of my DPS. If I want to rank up my character, in other words, get him a higher stat distribution and overall improve him outside of leveling. Oh yeah, that's it. Levels are tied to your account level, so you can never have a character beyond a certain point past your current account level. You have to play a lot to get your characters up there. So the only way to really keep yourself, at the top of your game is grinding equipment to increase your rank. If I wanted to get this bow and work towards uncapping it, I would need some more of this, some more of that. So with this, as you can see, I have to go all the way to chapter 6-9 to actually start farming the bows for this, right? We have an event running right now. Now, of course, this is kind of a bad example because I'm getting some of these drops through the event, but the general concept stands. I, right now, in this game, have to pick between farming the event, which has a bunch of really nice items and rewards behind it, or progressing through the story to increase my character stats. Because you don't get a lot of stamina in this game per day to really do much. And you also have a very limited amount of refills. They've actually hard limited the amount of refills that you can do a day to 20. So you can't even whale your way through progression or anything, you just want to have a day to grind. So when it comes to this, I have to pretty much pick, like, do I want to progress my character stats, or do I want to farm the event to get the gacha or the shop currency to buy items and things that'll help me, in the long run, right? Like, we got some gacha tickets in here. We have crystals for shards. We have experience for characters, which is a pain in the ass to get because you eat through them like nobody's business. Items to increase your magic gear stats, right? So it's like an impasse situation. what can I do? I have no way to increase my character stats and do harder content because there's a couple stages on this I can't complete with my current numbers without doing story and getting way up there. But in doing that, I won't progress through the event. I have to pick with my limited stamina. Welcome to hell. Yeah, I remember hearing that with the combat power, you get that huge stat reduction penalty through it. Yeah, they're both really, how to put, great taste, but awful execution scenarios. Both Nikki and this game had great foundations to begin with, but the execution of both of them was just outright miserable. Yeah. Alright, what time is it? 10 after 11? Alright, I've been doing this for a little over an hour now. I'm going to wrap up and head out, guys. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out, all that fun stuff. Thanks for chatting it up at the end. I will be here, I believe, next week for content. I can't remember when the next event drops for GBM. Should be next week. Anyways, see you guys all with the next stream. Peace out. See you in the next one.